They told you women were divine, angels in human form, gentle, nurturing, healers of pain, the missing piece to your chaos, and you believed it because everyone around you did. From the very first stories, she was the reward, the muse, the mother, the mystery. And you were the chaser, the knight, the fool with flowers and open wounds, hoping she'd be the cure. But what if none of that was real? What if that entire story, the fairy tale you were raised on, wasn't just wrong but crafted to blind you? See, Aristotle didn't see women as divine. He called them what he thought they were, incomplete men, not in spirit, but in form. And that idea? Brutal, maybe. Cold, definitely. But it wasn't hate, it was clarity. He stripped the poetry away and looked at nature as it is not as we want it to be. This isn't about biology anymore. It's about what that raw truth does to the illusions we live in. What if love isn't mutual the way you think it is? What if it's a hierarchy dressed up in romance? What if falling in love is really just kneeling at the altar of your own unmet needs? You don't fall for her. You fall for the part of you she reflects back, the part that craves healing. And she mirrors the version of yourself that you're most desperate to believe in. You think she's soft? Maybe. But look again. That softness often, it's performance, not always with bad intentions. Sometimes it's subconscious, but performance nonetheless. Because if Aristotle was right, then what a woman becomes isn't fixed, it's responsive. Not because she's fake, not because she's weak, but because she's wired to survive. And in a man's world, that means bending, shifting, adapting not out of love, but out of necessity. So look at her again. Who do you really see? A person, or a projection, a partner, or a placeholder for your own emotional hunger? You don't want her. You want the idea of her. And she knows it. That's her power. She doesn't need to dominate you. She only needs to reflect you. Once she becomes your mirror, your emotional echo, you fall. Not because she's powerful, but because you gave her that power. Not because she's a goddess, but because you're lost. And once you surrender, once you trade in your sense of self for her approval, what's left? You think you're being generous, loving, devoted, but you're not. You're bargaining, trading your masculinity for a few words that sound like validation. You're enough. But what if she never planned to say that? What if she doesn't see you at all, only the version of you she can shape, manipulate, or manage? Here's the truth. No one says out loud, she's not searching for truth. She's searching for advantage. Not because she's cruel, but because she's been trained by nature to survive where she has no structural power. While you speak in feelings, she listens in patterns. While you open up like it's a confession, she's mapping your emotional landscape for future leverage. Not because she's evil, but because she's learned. She's adapted. You call her emotional. She's tactical. You think she's fragile. She's calculating. Every smile, every silence, every touch, a move. She had to be this way. When you don't hold power, you learn how to influence it. Subtly, silently. She doesn't want to overpower you. She wants to become essential to you. The voice in your head. The comfort after your failure. The approval you need to feel like a man. And you call that love? That's not love. That's control. So refined you don't even see it happening. But don't blame her. She didn't create the game. She mastered it. While you were building systems and climbing ladders, she was learning how to survive under your rules. You conquered the world with force. She conquered your mind with finesse. Not to dominate you, but to be indispensable. To be the air you didn't know you were breathing. And she lives in your fear of being alone. She lives in your ache to be needed. She lives in your hunger for approval. You say that's chemistry. It's not. It's captivity. You think she's nurturing your wounds? Number. She's memorizing them. Because whoever knows where it hurts controls when it hurts. You thought you were in love, but you weren't. You were orbiting her. Around her moods, around her attention, around her silence. And the scariest part? You gave her the script. She just learned how to direct it. Every compliment she gave, a probe. Every, I love how open you are, calibration. She doesn't want your soul, she wants your pattern, because once she has it, she owns you. And once she owns you, she doesn't need to play nice anymore. And when she pulls back, when the affection dries up, you say she changed. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she just stopped pretending. Maybe the performance ended. And now you feel broken not because she's gone, but because the version of you that only existed through her gaze has vanished. You didn't lose love, you lost the illusion, the mask, the man you thought you had to be to keep her. That's the real grief. Not the loss of her, but the loss of the identity you built for her. Aristotle didn't hate women. He simply refused to lie about nature. And you? You'd rather stay in the myth. You'd rather be needed than be seen. Rather be loved through illusion than meet truth without a filter. But now it's time to see. Time to confront. Because once you realize she never admired you, she managed you, something shifts. Once you stop performing, the gravity breaks. The orbit collapses. And now you're alone. But alone doesn't mean broken. It means true. Finally. Now you ask the question you've avoided your whole life. Who are you without her? Not the role, not the mask, not the savior, not the emotional provider, just you. If the answer is silence, good. That's your real foundation. She was never your salvation. She was your mirror, not to reflect your greatness, but to expose your fear. You didn't love her. You loved the comfort, the approval, the feeling of being chosen. And now that it's gone, you're not shattered. You're exposed. And that's the beginning. That's the power. Because the man who builds himself no longer fears being unseen. He no longer collapses when love is withheld. Because he doesn't perform anymore. He is present. He is sovereign. And if she tests, that let her. If she leaves, let her. If she tries to reshape you into the version that once bowed, stand firm. Let the myth burn. Let the fantasy die. Let the pedestal crack. And meet her not as your rescuer, not as your reward, but as a human. A mirror. An equal indifference. Only then is real connection even possible. If this shook something loose inside you, don't keep it in. Like the video. Share it. Subscribe for more raw, unfiltered truths. And if you want to support the channel, the link's in the description. Every bit helps keep this message alive. Let the illusion go and build something real.